And staying in China, the country has recorded its fourth rise in new coronavirus cases in a row. That's despite some 13 million people already under lockdown in the country's Shaanxi province. The spike in cases there has produced China's highest infection rates since the pandemic's very first outbreak in Wuhan.
It's been almost 2 years since China has seen the streets of major cities deserted. But once again, millions are back under lockdown. Authorities widened the restrictions across Shaanxi province on Tuesday as they grapple with the country's biggest outbreak since the initial months of the pandemic. China has pursued a zero-tolerance approach, rolling out mass testing and draconian lockdowns for relatively small outbreaks. In Shaanxi's capital city of Xi'an, 13 million residents are under strict stay-at-home orders after reporting less than 200 daily infections. We have quickly adopted containment measures for these risk areas. The implementation of various measures will help to effectively control the outbreak. Despite administering almost 3 billion jabs, initial research shows the locally produced Sinovac offers limited protection against the Omicron variant. The Beijing Winter Olympics are set to start in just over a month, with only spectators from mainland China permitted to attend. With diplomatic boycotts already being announced, Beijing will be eager to ensure that COVID outbreaks don't further chill the already frosty atmosphere.
For more, let's bring in correspondent Fabian Kretschmer in Beijing. Fabian, the numbers bear repeating: 13 million people in lockdown for less than 200 daily infections. How are Chinese citizens coping with such tough measures?
Well, I mean, the general public are supporting those measures mostly. And the reason is that in most parts of China right now, you can live a relatively carefree, normal life without restrictions. However, the people who are affected by the zero COVID strategy, namely the citizens of Xi'an who are really under a strict lockdown, they cannot even leave their house right now. They are relying on neighborhood committees to send them food and daily necessities. They are making a lot of sacrifices. And if you scroll through social media, for example, Weibo, which is the dominant online platform here, you can find signs of discontent. For example, people complaining that they're running out of daily necessities and that there are no new supplies. However, most of the posts have since been deleted, and it's not really easy to have an open and critical debate about the virus strategy because it is sensitive in China to criticize the government.
No doubt. As we just heard in the report, the Chinese vaccine Sinovac appears to offer limited protection against the Omicron variant. I'm curious, is the country looking into other vaccines as an option for booster shots?
I don't see that happening. The reasons why, for example, BioNTech, Moderna, they have not been approved in China, that was a purely political decision. The state media here and also the government, they've praised their own domestic vaccines as being superior, and now it would be a huge loss of face if they would turn to foreign and especially Western vaccines. What they are betting on is that Sinovac, Sinopharm, their own vaccine producers, are developing a new generation of mRNA vaccines, and then they get approved. But the bigger picture is, or the bigger question that people are wondering is, what is the long-term goal? What is the exit strategy? I mean, so far, it's hard to imagine that China will open up its borders anytime soon.
Fabian, one imagines China needs to show they've got the virus under control ahead of the Olympics. Just very briefly, if you can, what's at stake?
Well, the national prestige. Last year they claimed the victory over the virus, and now the situation is quite different. But the Olympics themselves, they will be under a strict bubble, and the games are not at danger. I think they will take place mostly without spectators, but there will be a very strict COVID bubble during the games to seal off the athletes and the journalists from the rest of the population.
That's Fabian Kretschmer in Beijing. Many thanks, Fabian. Now to some other developments in the global pandemic. France has announced a record number of new coronavirus infections. Authorities counted almost 180,000 new cases in 24 hours. New cases are soaring in Australia as well. Health officials in New South Wales warned that the sudden outbreak is overwhelming testing centres, causing long queues and delays in receiving test results. And the WHO has warned that the Omicron variant still poses a very high risk and could overwhelm health systems.